Hello, welcome back to the letter. Uh, Here's a bit of background. The last time I played this game, so the recording, the last episode, was about a month ago, maybe like two. I don't exactly remember when, but we're gonna say 1 month ago, just to make me feel better about myself. And I've been focusing on school and stuff because I moved back into my dorm recently. So if you hear a bit of background noise, that's because I'm in a different environment now and I can't control people being loud. So, with that being said, we're going to continue. Just a few more hours, Isabella. I already forgot. I know I didn't give, voices to these characters, but, I already forgot. If I did give a voice to the main character, I forgot it, so apologies. Sell the house, get the money. Cool. Alright, we're leaving. A flock of people have already gathered in the mansion's front yard by time we officially open the doors. I'm not sure whether I should feel baffled or under duress standing in their presence. Men and women of wealth and status, all dressed to the nines in fancy suits and lovely dresses of varying colors, compose the medium-sized crowd. Their necks, arms, and fingers are adorned with silver and gold, glinting in the afternoon sun. Some even have ridiculously fancy feathered hats on their heads. I really hope there aren't any magpies living nearby like in the stories. Those birds will have a field day in this. They are murmuring among themselves, looking at the estate's facade appraisingly, with some arguing about whose mansion has the superior architecture. But most of it stops as Rose calls for their attention. They don't look too pleased about being ordered around, but what can they do about it?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rose Cooper, and this is my partner, Isabella Santos. We'll be taking a tour of the mansion in 2 groups. Please make sure you filled up our sign-in forms before joining a specific group.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, splitting up is a great idea. Thank you, Rose.
Those who want to look around the first floor, please follow my partner. I'll be guiding the ones who wish to see the ground floor.
Isabella, we do not have great experience with the second floor. Are you sure you want that one? Hearing this, a few wandered to me. They are mostly old ladies who seem daunted at the idea of climbing all those stairs. Miss Kalu, I forgot how to pronounce her name entirely, also joins their group. But what really catches my eye is the elegantly dressed pair she approaches.
It's so nice to finally meet you. When Chief Inspector Lee mentioned that a famous interior designer is in town, I knew I had to get you.
Your confidence in my skills is very flattering, ma'am.
I'm sure you won't disappoint, Marianne.
Oh, you know each other?
Not at all, ma'am.
You mentioned something about a Marianne on our way here, darling?
Oh, yes, I think I did.
Ah, they must be the clients she was talking about. I might have seen their faces somewhere before, some magazine, or the television. I can't quite remember. But then again, most of our guests have likely ended up on the news, one way or another. I won't be surprised if these two already have. For people who are popular enough, they aren't dressed as loudly as the others, and in their simplicity, the couple stands out. The woman, in particular, is stunning enough to turn the heads of most people in my group, especially the men with wondering eyes. The guy standing beside her doesn't seem to mind, though. And if I'm going to be a bit bolder with my assumptions, I'd say he's basking in the attention. Both of them, in fact. I'd think they are brother and sister if it wasn't for their public display of affection. The matching rings on their finger just cements that they are indeed a couple. Okay, why the fuck didn't we just start with that then? Why did you have to call them siblings? And how did you get such a close-up view of their rings? Whatever. Couple or not, what's important is that we get this deal closed before the current owners can even think of canceling the listing. I just hope that one of the people in my or Rose's group is brave and generous enough to buy this mansion. And so, with papers in hand, I lead the way. Journal updated? Before going to the Ermengarde mansion, Isabella Santos dropped by St. Gordian High School. Okay, so this is just a review of what happened. Got you in profiles. Alright, excellent. Looks like these will be our main characters. Oh, she's 5'2"? I'm 5'2". Wow, interesting. When they aren't whispering among themselves or going ooh and ah over one thing or another, they ask questions. From how the restoration process went to the history of the place, I answer them all, more than happy to talk about the art pieces and architecture mostly. However, I'm careful not to mention anything about the urban legend. It's not good material for sales talk, even if the entire population of Luxborn knows about it.
Some of the furnishings here are actually the 17th century originals, all of which have undergone a painstaking restoration process just to return its original beauty.
Even the glass thing. Colorful ones. Oh, I don't know, but you get the idea, I hope.
Ah, her name is Lovely Lady, of course.
Especially that one, ma'am. It is said to be a gift commissioned by the fiancé of Lady Charlotte Ermengarde. The mansion's current owners have specifically requested that the restoration crew take great care in handling it. It's a priceless work of art and the most distinctive feature of the mansion.
By the time I've stopped talking to her, her attention is already elsewhere.
Isn't this place wonderful, darling? I told you it's not a total waste of your time.
I don't know. Isn't it a bit too small? We might have to break a wall down to have more room.
Mr. in Grey. Wow.
Well, I think it is just right. Don't you think so, Marianne?
It is splendid, ma'am. But isn't it a little too early to make plans when no deal has been signed yet?
Never mind that. It isn't going to be a problem. We've got a wonderful legal team to handle everything. Start taking notes, though. I think I've got a few things I want changed before we move in.
The rest of their conversation gets lost in the chatter of our companions. I don't want to make any assumptions yet, but their sheer interest is enough to give me some semblance of hope. Oh, please, please, please let these guys be the one. Eventually, our group reaches the kitchen. Much like the rest of the house, a great deal of effort have been put into retaining the room's classical appeal. The open hearth at the end of the room in particular looks amazing, like the ones I've seen in fairy tale books. And mad props to the cleaning crew. Seriously, after overhearing hundreds of their complaints about the soot and tar tainting the bricks and how much of a pain in the arse cleaning this will be, they managed to pull this off. Or make it look presentable, at least.
The highlight of the room, however, is what's underneath this hatch here.
Oh, don't say anything yet. An underground wine cellar.
This is the first time the guy in the gray, not the gray in the guy. This is the first time the guy in the gray speaks up. I said that correctly. Okay. Mr. Luke Wright, my memory supplies from the forms they signed earlier. His sudden attentionness catches me off guard. Since the start of the tour, only his wife has shown any sort of genuine interest in the place. But this time, something lights up in his eyes at the mention of an Undercroft. He must really like wine. What's so interesting about a basement? I really don't understand rich people sometimes. Right now, he just gives me the impression of a child who has seen what he absolutely wants for Christmas. I've always found it cute whenever I see children act that way, my younger siblings especially. On a grown man? It's almost funny.
Yes, sir. It could house around 7,000 to 11,000 bottles of wine.
Truly. And the room, how was it built?
The bricks that were used to build the cellar have been carefully picked for the purpose of maintaining and preserving a constant temperature and humidity in the room. It's a good place to keep your private collection in if you have one, sir.
It keeps the corks in good condition.
Oh, love. Didn't you say before that you wanted to make your own personal vineyard? Perhaps you could start one here.
You know we're going to need space for that, darling.
And this isn't big enough?
If it's space you're worried about, sir, the Ermengarde mansion sits on a 46-acre lot. There's plenty of room for it. We were told that the original owners had a horse stable built here before, too.
There's a contemplative expression on Mr. Wright's face, but he doesn't say anything further. His wife, however, seems really pleased he has started to show interest, if only a little. I smile to myself. I may not completely understand how these people's minds work, but I sure as hell know how to spot a buyer with sincere interest. Score. I can't wait to tell Rose. The rest of the tour goes by without a hitch. After more than half an hour, we're able to clear almost every room in the ground floor and are heading to the parlor. I almost said that sentence perfectly, but then I got to parlor and bleh. Funny. First time BRC had us survey the property, I kept complaining to Rose how big it is. Now I can't even bring myself to care, no matter how much my feet hurt. Maybe this is just my excitement over a possible sale? Cool. Odd whispers. When we reach the parlor, however, an odd feeling washes over me. It starts off as small goosebumps on my skin, a feeling of being watched intently. Whispers in my ears, and shadows dancing, lurking in the corner of my vision. Dark silhouettes that are gone when I turn to look. A chill settles down my spine, making me sick, and I start to break out in a cold sweat. I can't do this. I need to sit down for a moment. The old ladies in the group have been requesting for a break anyways. If I could just...
Excuse me? Everyone? We will be taking a 15-minute rest here before we visit the first floor. In the meantime, please help yourselves to the refreshments and snacks we prepared. If anyone has any questions, feel free to approach me. I'd be happy to help you.
I let them sit while I retreat to a quiet corner to recover. It's not what you think. Don't think about it. It's not what you think. I probably just caught Becca's cold. Don't think about it. I'm left alone for a good while, the same words spilling out of my lips in a silent prayer, until a hand taps my shoulder.
Hello? You there?
Yes, ma'am?
Oh, look at you. Having to show a group around a mansion this big must be exhausting.
Not a problem, ma'am. I'm just doing my job.
What a hard worker. Anyway, Isabel, right?
Isabella, actually. But yes, what can I help you with, ma'am, right?
Please, just Hana. Call me Hana. I just wanted to ask, how soon are we able to move in?
My brain completely stops. The sick feeling plaguing me is suddenly gone, replaced by utter bewilderment. Is this a joke? She looks at me expectantly as I struggle to come up with an answer.
Wait, ma'am, you see... But we haven't even negotiated a price yet, ma'am. We haven't even finished touring the rest of the mansion. A sale would be great and all, but...
She stops me from speaking any further and puts a hand on my shoulder. Bitch, I am rich. For a moment, with her tight smile, she looks at me as if she tasted a particularly sour lemon.
Oh, please, sweetie, don't insult me. Money is not a problem.
Practically the joke I just made.
And just between you and me, this place is better off with us than with some old lady who'll probably just fill it up with cats.
I personally don't think there's anything wrong with having cats here, Ma'am Hana. I'm sure there's more than enough space here if you want pets.
Perhaps I'm still not feeling well, but really, what's wrong with cats? More importantly, why is she talking about moving in already?
Well, I'm more of a dog person. But you see, this is going to be a gift to my darling. It's going to be our anniversary soon. And it would be so wonderful if you can secure its purchase for us. Why, I can even offer something extra if you help us out with the paperwork.
We actually have a process for this, ma'am. I don't really think that would be necessary or appropriate.
And just what are you two lovely ladies talking about here? Leaving me and our lovely interior designer to talk here by ourselves. What would the people think, darling?
Oh, it's just small talk, love. I was asking if she could help me with the paperwork.
I try not to wince when her nails dig into my shoulder. I can't help but send an imploring look at Miss Kahlo, who only gives me an apologetic smile and a shrug.
Yeah, I can give you a fact sheet and a form to fill out.
She wastes no time in taking the papers from my hand and shovels through the bunch. Oh man, Rose is going to be so angry at me for letting her do that.
Wonderful. And Marianne, I'd really love to talk to you about those changes. You took some notes earlier, yes?
I did, Mom. But I really hope that this time...
Excellent. Hopefully you can help us out too, Isabel.
Isabella.
Right. It's a lovely name, Isabel.
It's Isabella.
Yes, that's great. We'll be more than happy to put in a good word to your superiors too, and... what's this?
Ooh, new artwork. D-list horror prop achievement. Alright, what is this? A look of confusion and disgust appears on her face. Turning to her husband, he merely shrugs in reply.
That's, an interesting work of art. Not to my taste, though. I'm sorry.
Darling, Buttercup, art is a complete overstatement for this garbage. It looks like a cheap prop from a D-list horror film.
He kind of reminds me of Byakuya from Danganronpa.
Shush, love. Let the girl do what she pleases with, what do they call this? Oh, forget about it. At the very least, it's not as dreadful as the one art exhibit I was forced to attend last month. You should have seen it, Marianne. Even you would have been appalled. But I'm sure you'll know what to do with our walls once we get started.
I highly doubt it is as bad as you say, Ma'am. Nevertheless, you can be assured that my team will only pick whatever suits your tastes. Nothing of this chain letter sort, of course. It has to always work with a palette.
I'm quite sure chain letters these days don't come in this form.
It's my turn to be puzzled. What do they mean? Rose and I double-checked everything. Are the papers I handed not enough? I want to ask what I did wrong. I don't want to mess this up. But the way Ma'am Hana's leading the conversation, I'm afraid that's exactly what will happen if I do interrupt her.
That's good to hear. See, darling, isn't she an absolute delight to work with? I can't wait to see how this place will look when she's done with it.
Oh, you don't have to tell me that, Buttercup.
A smile is back on her face when she turns to me and hands me a strange piece of paper.
I would still put it away if I were you, though. Otherwise, people might get the wrong impression. Anyway, as I was saying...
I don't hear the rest of what she says after that. I can only stare down at the letter in my hands. The sides crinkle in my grip as my breathing grows labored. Dread quickly fills my mind.
Isabella? Isabella? Are you alright? You're looking pale.
I didn't even notice when Rose's group joined us in the parlor. I want nothing than to say, no, I'm not alright. I want to leave this place, because I remember everything as clear as day. This woman and this letter and that woman in the attic. It's real.
The letter. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Careless. I've been so careless. How do I even tell them that without looking like I've gone mad? Should I even tell them? Alright. We're gonna save. Yes. And we're going to continue this next time. Are we going to show the letter to Rose, or are we not going to show the letter? We'll settle that in the next episode. Goodbye.